Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a partly sunny San Antonio here. And Calgar Gym, the host of the 2023 Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic. Your very first game coming up, the Trinity Tigers hosting the Washington and Lee Generals. My name is Caleb Reed, joined up here in the commentary box by Luke Terry. And Luke, this is looking to be a pretty good game.
Absolutely. This is really Trinity's first test outside of the region. Conference play got underway a couple weeks ago. Now they're reshifting their focus, and Washington and Lee comes in, proving to be a pretty tough test. They're pretty successful early on this year, 5-2 record. But I think the big thing is the test that's going to be presented by Robert DeCibio. Big man that shoots it incredibly well from deep, about 43% from range, but he stands in about 6'6". We'll see exactly what he brings to the game. Trinity, a team that defensively likes to run a lot of zone, so it's going to be interesting, right? That's what opposing teams want to do on offense, shoot over the zone, beat it, make teams move to man-to-man. Let's see if Trinity can have some success. Really, it's going to start with Christian Green, who's been so electric on both ends of the court, being very disruptive defensively so far this year.
Christian Green, of course, leading the team in terms of points per game, has led the team in points the last couple of games, including the most recent one here at home whenever they took the victory against SCAC competition. And we are underway with Trinity getting the ball first, passing it around outside, now driving down, gonna put the ball up, does not fall there for Jacob Millhouse, but Trinity able to recover. It's Green with it outside, now passes it around. Shot is up from outside and no good, off the rim by Tanner Brown, rebounded by Laughlin.
I watched this Generals team in warm-ups. DeCibio now with the ball in the pink shoes, kind of hard to miss him wearing number 33. He shot the ball a lot from over the top and kind of orchestrating the offense from the outside. Really nice passing from Washington and Lee to get that early bucket underneath, beating the zone. Is exactly how you have to do it. Either shoot over the top and make them early on, or use the pass to get the defense out of position. They use the latter right there.
DeCibio, the team leader in terms of points for the Generals, going to be a big impact player here today. Shot is up from outside, cannot get it to fall. That was Jacob Harvey who had that shot. The rebound by DeCibio, now driving down. Shot is up, and it is good by Drew Hurrell. And now we are going to get a Washington and Lee 4-point lead here. Green driving down. Does not get it to fall, but we are going to get a foul here. Looks like it's going to be on the floor against Colin Ryan.
Yeah, a couple unsuccessful offensive possessions to start things off. Christian Green taking matters into his own hands there, really forcing the issue, going one-on-one against the smaller Ryan. Ryan, 6'4", sophomore out of Richmond, Virginia, giving up just a little bit of size to the freshman. Christian Green, 6'6", of course, playing in his hometown here in San Antonio, and we've talked a little bit about his tremendous start to the year.
Trinity still with the ball here. It's going to be a throw-in by Jacob Harvey. And a deep pass over to Millhouse, now down to Brown. Brown with the shot, gets it to fall from three. And that is something that Trinity has been very good at so far this year, getting the three ball when it matters.
Yeah, and they had several good looks from deep to start this one, as immediately back the other way. That time it's D'Entremont from mid-range, rising up over the defense and knocking one home. So that lead extended back to 6-3, but on this side of the floor, a little bit of a zone from Washington Lee started, and Trinity doing exactly what they need to. That time, Millhouse connecting from deep. Now Trinity, after a couple of misses from long range, have made their last two.
Generals trying to pass it around outside. This is a tie game here at 6-all. Shot is up, and it is good from three. So Washington going to take a 3-point lead. Shot is up and blocked there by, that's going to be D'Entremont. And I believe that Trinity is going to get the ball. Looks like the ref signaled that. And so it's going to be Christian Green on the throw-in. Still no substitutions here. A little bit under 3 minutes, or sorry, a bit over 2 minutes gone in this first half. Berry with it up top, now outside. Shot is up, and it's no good by Harvey. Rebound there by D'Entremont. That's there to Hurl, and now back down to Hurl. They left him open. He's going to try and put it up, and it is going to go in there, defended by Braxton Berry, but it rolled in there off of the front of the rim.
Yeah, and Hurl did a nice job right there. Caught it, was open initially, took a little bit too much time. It allowed Berry to get there, but he did a good job recognizing the larger defender, went to the other side of the rim and allowed him to protect that shot really nicely.
Harvey outside for three, and it's good. And so Trinity bites into that lead a little bit. Still a 2-point lead, but that might help as that pass intended for DeCibio goes way over his head and out of bounds.
Yeah, 3 makes so far for Trinity, 3 3-pointers made. There have been a lot of attempts. I think almost all of Trinity's shot attempts so far coming from 3-point range. Millhouse, Harvey, Tanner Brown, all certainly capable of knocking them down.
Berry spins around, puts it up, cannot get it to fall. Fighting for the rebound. It's taken in by Lachlan. Lachlan going to pass it outside to one of his teammates. Fakes the pass. Now the shot is up. It's no good. And rebounded there by both Millhouse and Berry. Now down low, Harvey. Harvey spins, passes it out to Berry. Berry going to take the shot from just past the free throw line. No good.
We've seen Berry willing to take those kind of from that mid-range area. Haven't seen him knock one down this year, but the form looks good, just working on finding the range. But wasting no time as this Washington and Lee team back and forth, up and down the court they've gone. They've looked very strong offensively in the early going as they knock down another shot from mid-range.
Christian Green takes one of his first shots for the day. It's no good off the rim. And they're going to say that it's going to be Washington ball here as we get our first media timeout of the day. So we're going to get a look at the stats here on your screen as soon as they pop up, but we're just going to take a look at them here. And so far the story has been Washington and Lee 6 for 7 on field goals so far. They have been very accurate whenever they've been taking these shots.
Yeah, they've been great on the offensive end of the court. And we talked a little bit about it in the open. This is a Trinity team that uses the zone. Right now, Washington and Lee not having really any issues with it. A lot of it's really good shot making, and you would assume that over the course of this game, things kind of fall back towards that average, but they've come out, they've to some extent punched Trinity in the mouth a little bit. This is one of the strongest starts that I think we've seen out of an opposing team in Calguard. Trinity has really hung its hat on the defensive end of the court by using some different looks, some different zones throughout the course of the year. So we'll be interested to see. First time out on the court because of this media break. How does Coach Jimmy Smith and this squad adjust coming out of it? And on the other side, how does Washington Lee make sure that they can sustain this success?
One of the things that we have seen so far throughout the last few games here on the Tiger Network have been opponents here at Calguard not really being able to find their feet very quickly, struggling with shooting early on, and then maybe heating up towards the middle of the first half, end of the second. And so it has been kind of a complete reversal here in terms of what we have seen out of the Generals. They have started out fast, and that is something that we are not used to here so far. Will be very interesting, as you mentioned, to see how Coach Smith and this team sort of reacts to it coming out of this timeout. We're going to get DeCibio with the throw in. It's going to be a pass out to Robertson. Back to DeCibio. We did have a couple of substitutions there during that timeout. We'll try and get to those as we have some time. As that pass taken away by Williams. It's popped up, taken back away by Lachlan. 3-on-2 as the numbers finally come back in Trinity's favor. Puts the shot up, and it's no good, and that is going to be a foul on Ty Williams, the junior out of Pearland.
That was a really good job by Washington and Lee in that last defensive transition sequence, getting back, playing the passing lanes, having very active hands as Trinity was trying to get out and run, something that they do very well and kind of pride themselves on. They want to move fast, want to get open looks in transition, whether that's going to the basket with Christian Green or with these guys that find their spots on the perimeter and shoot it very well, even when they don't have a lot of space.
Second shot falls there for, it's going to be D'Entremont. Pass outside to Brown. For Trinity, the only player that went off was Braxton Berry. It got replaced by Ty Williams, who is the actor in that last foul. As Mailhouse loses the ball, able to recover it. Brown with it now. Euro step, puts it up off the front of the rim, does not fall. Rebound by Niehaus. Generals just trying to pass it around right now, trying to find an open player. They get one down low, and they're going to say out of bounds. Lost track of where his foot was, and it will be Tiger ball. For the Generals, players who have gone out are Colin Ryan, Harrell, and Lachlan, and in are Fagan and Niehaus. We do have some movement down on the bench as well, so it looks like we're going to get another Tiger substitution in. Meanwhile, as Christian Green cannot get his shot to fall, rebound by Williams. Williams puts it up, cannot get his to fall, and fighting for the rebound, cannot get it. Parker Niehaus, the one who it bounced off of.
Yeah, and there's a lot of resistance underneath the basket currently for Washington and Lee. Pretty much every Trinity shot that's come at the rim has been challenged pretty extensively. Nice set right there. Got a semi-open look in the corner for Tanner Brown. He attacked his closing defender, got into the paint, got tripped up right there, and it looks like that one will be called on the floor, even though he was trying to gather towards the rim. He couldn't really get a shot up towards the basket. Another thing Washington Lee has done in the early going so far, I think they've really controlled outside of those bunnies right at the basket. Shots from the outside, they've limited second chance opportunities off of, really cleaning up the glass nicely.
Pass to Christian Green ends up going out of bounds, and it was tipped off of a Generals player.
That time it was Zach Finn making that one across the court, skip pass over the top of his head.
Green with the ball down low again, puts it up, still cannot get it to fall. Trinity is really struggling now. A scoring drought of over 2.5 minutes as Washington Lee has it back outside. Pass down low, shot up from the corner, does not fall, rims out of the basket. Taken in by Zach Fenn. Shot is up from outside. Shot is good. That's Dean Balo, the freshman out of Dallas, who finally breaks a scoring drought of over 2.5 minutes for the Tigers and gets them within 3 points of the Generals.
Yeah, pretty big swing as that one's up, and that one is knocked down as well. Neuenhaus coming into the game. A couple of big men on this Generals roster that have proven that they can shoot it from deep. That extends their lead back to 6 after Trinity had just crawled to within 3. Some really good shot making continuing into his second timeout here in the first half. Now under 14 minutes to play. And you see those percentages on your screen. Field goals pretty lopsided at the moment. Better than 3 out of 4 shots made for Washington and Lee. Trinity just over 1 out of 4 for 26% on the afternoon. But both teams right now shooting it well from deep.
And one very interesting to note, Washington Lee has had more turnovers. Trinity just hasn't been able to capitalize on them. And typically, it should be the other way around. You see coaches always prioritizing turnovers, prioritizing rebounds. Washington Lee, of course, leading the rebound category and leading the game. But it's still very interesting to see how, despite leading the turnover battle, Trinity is down on the court 12-18 as we come back from this timeout. It's going to be Christian Green throwing it in to Balo. No substitutions for the Tigers during that last break.
Cleaning up a little bit of condensation on the court right now, so extending this delay out of the timeout. It looks like we're just about set to get things underway now.
We did have a couple of substitutions. Sibio and Finet are in. D'Entremont and Fagan are out. Balo driving down. Shot is up outside from Brown, who gets it to go in. Raining threes here in Trinity as the Tigers close the lead. Generals down low, puts the shot up, does not fall, fighting for the ball. Taken in by Fenn. Fenn, pass outside Brown. Brown puts it up from the same spot. Cannot get it to fall this time. And they're going to say that it was off the hands of Neuenhaus. Substitution, off goes Roberton, and in comes number 11, Colin Ryan. So a swap of starters here.
You talked just a second ago, Caleb, about the fact that this Washington Lee team currently leading the rebounding race as Dean Balo's shot falls off the rim right there. He tries to go for the tie-up. See what the referee says. I think he might be calling a foul. That is the case. So a long foul away from the basket, but right now Ty Williams in the game for Trinity, making this Generals team work for every one of those boards. He's made a real impact this season, in large part because of the energy and effort that he's played with down low.
It's going to be Ryan who gets the ball now, pass around. Washington Lee just trying to figure out what to do here. Puts the shot up down low and manages to get it in over the top of Williams. So they will extend this lead now to 5. Green with the ball out around to Williams. Williams to Balo. Balo going to take the shot from 3 now. Cannot get it to fall off the rim. That rebound was by Lachlan. Lachlan with the ball right now. Driving down, now passes it down low. Pump fake, shot is up and good for D'Entremont.
Several times we've seen those Generals players catching the ball on the baseline, demonstrating a lot of patience as Williams rises up and he knocks one down. Not something we're used to seeing out of Ty Williams, but he shot that one confidently and got nothing but the bottom as he takes one away in transition. They've got numbers.
Ty Williams puts it up and in, and Trinity now just one possession away from tying or taking the lead during this game. Ball again stolen by the Tigers. Down low to Brown. Brown has it popped up, and he's going to go to the line for 2.
Some real frustration from the Generals. That was a nice trap right after the half court. I think Trinity, Zach Finn, Tanner Brown were able to take the ball out of the hands of Colin Ryan, who after that foul call under the basket that they are trying to protect right now, kind of pleading with his teammates to come to the ball, help him out in a situation like that. You see that turnover disparity growing a little bit more. 5 now in the first 8+ minutes of this game for Washington Lee, just 1 for Trinity. Something we saw out of them this past weekend in SCAC play, really doing a good job of taking care of the basketball, limiting those turnovers.
That foul there on the court was against DeCivio, so that is going to be his first, I believe. Yes, it is. It's going to be his first. 4 fouls so far in this half for the Generals, only 2 for the Tigers. Something to keep an eye on later on in the game, of course. Not really super important at the moment, considering that nobody even should be close to foul trouble. But again, just looking at the numbers, obviously can't right now because we are in replay, but the numbers are very interesting. An almost complete swap of what we're used to over the last couple of weeks with conference SCAC play. With this brand new opponent, it is something that is kind of throwing the Trinity team a bit for a loop.
Yeah, and interesting, talked with Coach Smith. He was happy with the non-conference schedule that he had put together in the early part of the year, but a lot of that, as we mentioned in the Open, did consist of teams from the region. Washington Lee, a different part of the country, kind of a different challenge for that reason. They have, obviously, a schedule that is kind of based around where they are geographically, play a lot of teams in that region. Just different levels of skill and talent and competitiveness across the country, as you might imagine. And Washington Lee showing that early on. I think they're very battle-tested, a very good team, despite the fact that they have dropped 2 games early on in their campaign.
Those 2 losses, of course, very close ones. Their most recent one being an overtime loss. As we're going to get a jump ball call here, and looks like it will remain Washington Lee ball. So it's going to be a throw in there by Roberton. Pass outside, now driving down low. Fenn kind of overcommitted a bit. And that foul is going to go against Abdullah Roberts there. Got a little bit tripped up in defense, and that's going to be the third team foul for the Tigers. First for Roberts.
And I think you live with that. I think he's certainly cognizant of the fact that DeCibio standing out there, as we talked about, almost 43% in his career from three-point territory. So got to respect that. Trying to run him off the line there, got a little bit aggressive and jumped on that shot fake, but not allowing for any of those open, solid looks for the big man from deep.
Shot is up from outside, and it is good for John Laughlin, the sophomore out of Alexandria, Virginia. And Trinity is very quick on the attack. Smilas with it. Shot up outside from Roberts. Roberts can't get it to fall. Rebound there by Laughlin, and now pushing down the court. Passes outside to Hurl. Back outside, and that is going to be either a backcourt or a takeaway. It is going to be a takeaway by Fenn. Fenn going to put it up from outside, and he's going to get it to go for three.
He jogs back the other way, kind of gives you the Michael Jordan shrug. Did a nice job playing that passing lane, and the Generals not too eager to get back and recover that ball. He had tipped it. They would have been able to recover it. Wouldn't have been a backcourt violation. Instead, out hustling his man, picking that one up, and then taking that shot from three.
He gets another tip, bats it back to himself, and that's going to be another steal. Millhouse down low to Roberts. Roberts can't hang on to it, and it's taken away by DeCibio. DeCibio going to drive down, and they're going to call a blocking foul on Ty Williams.
And a good job from Williams trying to get back, keep himself in front. I don't think there was any chance he was going to get the call right there, but did enough to slow DeCibio down. His teammates coming in support of him and blocking that shot from behind.
As we get a look at the players trying to figure out where they are going to go.
DeCibio still scoreless in this one. Hasn't even registered a shot attempt as he catches down low right here and looks to change that, but great defense from Baxton Berry. It's one of our keys to the game today. DeCibio, one of the highest scoring players in all of Division III, coming in at around 27 points per game. But it's something that Trinity's been really good at doing all year long, is stopping those priority, those first options for opposing teams.
That pass intercepted by Jacob Harvey, put up and in by Dean Balo. And now Trinity finally takes the lead. Feels like a while since we've said that. And now DeCibio and the offense going to try and figure out what to do to hopefully break a little bit of a drought here for them. Shot is up outside, and it is no good by Laughlin. Harvey with the ball right now. Moving around, takes the shot from three, cannot get it to fall off the front of the iron. Rebound by D'Entremont, and now just passing it around. Pass down low. DeCibio tried to put it up, and it was knocked away. It's going to remain general ball here as we get a substitution. Grayson Hare coming on for Jacob Millhouse. A few substitutions here for the Generals as well. Looks like DeCibio is coming off as well as Laughlin in exchange for Colin Ryan. And I believe Thomas Fagan.
So often we talk about basketball being a game of runs. So far, it's been a really steady effort for Trinity in this first half. Have kept themselves within striking range after Washington Lee did kind of take that approach. Got off to a really hot start, but Trinity now settling in on this defensive end of the floor. A nice stop right there and limiting it to just one possession as they come back on offense.
Washington Lee on a 2-minute-long scoring drought now. Barry pass to Harvey. Back over to Harvey. Roberts thought about a shot, doesn't take it. Now down to Balo. Balo gonna drive, backs out of it. Roberts thought about the shot. Now he's gonna go down with it. He's gonna put it up, and he's gonna put it in to give Trinity a 3-point lead.
Man, Roberts just so long, using some nice strides right there to get past his defender. Not really a blow-by any means, but put his guy, Neuenhaus, on his hip, just didn't let him recover to get in a position to block that shot. But Neuenhaus back down on the offensive end, making up for it and getting two himself.
Roberts, one of the players to represent Team USA abroad this summer, as Bela fumbled the ball a little bit. Now over to Hare. Hare going to put it up, and it's short. No good, taken away by D'Entremont. D'Entremont going to bring it down, pass over to Hurl. Back over to D'Entremont now, just kind of passing it between the two. Going to pass it down to Fagan. Back over, shot is up, no good by Hurl, rebounded by Braxton Berry. Outside of Dula Roberts, spin move, tries to put it up, and they're gonna call a travel there. And we are gonna get a media timeout with 7 minutes and 6 seconds to go here in this first half. What have you seen so far, Luke?
Well, I think I saw what I expected out of this Trinity side. Coming out in that zone defense, trying to get out and run in transition. I've been really impressed more than anything with Washington and Lee. We talked about it a couple breaks ago. Came out really, really steady, and they hit some big shots from deep to really kind of shock this Trinity team. Talked about it. Trinity used to these early leads, get out and just kind of extend them, bleed games away as they move along. But Washington and Lee has been ready for everything that Trinity's thrown at them. They've done a nice job of moving these zone defenses back and forth and creating some open opportunities on the offensive end of the court. And then defensively, they're doing a nice job of getting back, and even when they're not set, they're running with Trinity in transition, playing actively in passing lanes. Trinity kind of recognizing that, being smart with the basketball has been a huge aspect of the first half that we've seen to this point, not turning the ball over despite the fact that Washington Lee is getting back. Still, 8 turnovers for Washington Lee, just 3 for the home team. These Tigers, I think that's a big reason why they've kept themselves in it despite the disparities in the shooting percentages on the screen.
Of course, the shooting percentage, it started out pretty poorly for Trinity. If you look at the comparison, 61 to 37, it isn't exactly much better, but Trinity has definitely cleaned it up after their very slow start, particularly from 3, both teams shooting at or near half. As we are underway here for the final 7 minutes of this first half. Pass down low, takes the shot, is going to be Neuenhaus who gets 2 and gives the Generals the lead back here, 29-28 over the Trinity Tigers here with 6:40 remaining. It's going to be Christian Green with it right now. Spins around and loses it. Again, that's Hurl with the ball moving around, defended by Harvey. Outside to Sibio. Hurl going to take the shot from 3, and it's good to make this a 32-28 game.
And Hurl really sparking that last sequence for this Washington Lee team. Nice job defensively against Christian Green, taking the ball away and then knocking one down. Washington Lee now 4 of 7 from deep, so incredibly efficient start. They haven't taken a lot of attempts from deep. Trinity more than doubling that number up right now, 15 attempts from outside the arc. They've made 7 of them, so 2 really high shooting percentages from 3 for each of these teams, despite the disparities across the rest of the floor.
Berry pass over to Harvey. Harvey gonna drive it down, puts the shot up, does not fall. Berry called for a foul. A Washington Lee player also fell to the ground. I believe that was Neuenhaus. DeCivio going to take a long 3, and he's going to nail that. That was an incredible shot there by Robert DeCivio. As now Hare with the ball outside to Braxton Berry. Berry back over to Hare. Hare going to take the shot from 3, cannot get it to go, and now they are going to get a whistle on, I believe that is Neuenhaus.
Yeah, Neuenhaus being pushed by all of these Trinity big men right now in this rebounding game. Braxton Berry pursuing the basketball hard right there, got shoved off a little bit. Neuenhaus trying to clear out space and come away with that board. But you mentioned that shot from DeCivio in transition just a moment ago. He hadn't registered to make as Tanner Brown kind of doing the same. Each of them forcing the issue. DeCibio's shot working out for him really well, though, and Tanner Brown's not so much.
Brown had to be very careful of where his feet were. I saw him looking down before that shot. We're going to get Grayson Hare coming off in exchange for, I believe that's Zach Fenn. Lachlan with it right now. Up top to Colin Ryan. Ryan thought about handing it off to DeCibio, now finally gets it over to him. Neuenhuis with the ball down low, defended by Barry. Shot is up and in to extend this lead. The Generals going on a bit of a run as Trinity is experiencing just a bit of a scoring drought. Pass to Green down low. Green rifles it into the hands of Harrell as this pass almost intercepted there by Braxton Berry, just fell off of his hands a little bit, and it is going to remain General ball with 4:30 to go.
We were just talking about DeCibio not connecting, no points from the field before that three he just made. Of course, he's this leading scorer for this Washington lead team. On the other side, though, Christian Green yet to get in that same column for the Tigers. Tried to force that last pass, turned it over as Washington Lee operating a little bit of a triangle offense in that short corner, but reset right now, and still just tremendous passing and generating these looks from the corner.
Shot is up by Lachlan and it falls in. Generals have gone on a 14-0 run in the last 3.5 minutes as Trinity really needs to get something going here. Green with it now, driving down, and they're going to call a blocking foul against Washington and Lee.
Yeah, and stopping Christian Green has certainly been a priority for this Washington and Lee side. No better time to get the freshman going. You see the grimace on his face right there. He's headed to the free throw line. He hasn't been great from the charity stripe to start off his career. 6'6" freshman, struggling a little bit, sub 60% on the season. He's there because of the 1-and-1. He does a nice job of converting on the first. Trying to just force the issue, get something going to stop this scoring drought, and that's exactly what Trinity does right there.
Not sure exactly what happened there to cause that grimace. I think he might have had a little bit too much contact there whenever he ended up going down. But it's DeCibio with it right now, being shadowed heavily there by Fenn. Harrell's pass is taken away by Fenn. Fenn now going down, being guarded by Harrell. Very, very rough defense there by Harrell, and it is going to be a foul on Drew Harrell. Drew Harrell, the senior out of New Jersey.
But with that, now a stoppage under 4 minutes, so we'll get another timeout in San Antonio. That was Zach Finn, who bobbled the ball just a little bit. I think that enticed Harrell just enough to reach in, and a little bit of contact on the arm, enough to draw the foul from the referee. But going back to that possession previously for Trinity that had Christian Green at the free throw line, Colin Ryan committed the foul on him, so that was his second foul of the first half. Harrell right there picking up his second foul as well, so it'll be interesting to see now under 4 minutes left. Do you roll the dice and keep him out there, maybe risk him picking up a third foul, or are the two guys that have been very, very stout perimeter defenders in Harrell and Ryan both going to have to sit the last 4 minutes of this first half and give this Trinity offense an opportunity to kind of cut into this deficit?
Harrell has been one of the main forces here so far. Of the players currently on the floor, 4 of which are starters, he has the most minutes so far. If we're looking at the team leaders for both sides right now, overall in this game, the leading points scorer is Jack D'Entremont, 12 points so far for the Generals. For the Tigers, it is Tanner Brown who leads the team with 7 points. John McLaughlin leads Washington, leads Washington and lead with 6 rebounds. And Robert DeCibio leads the team in terms of assists. For the Tigers, it is Braxton Berry who leads on rebounds. Jacob Milhouse leading with 2 assists.
Zach Finn, 1-and-1 shot here. This is the first, and it's good. So he'll have another. Trinity been in the bonus since about the 5-minute mark of this first half. Getting there a couple of consecutive possessions, helping them cut into this lead, as now we will see Harrell exit the game. Replacing him is Connor Robertson for this Generals side.
Second shot, no good. So 1 make, 1 miss there for Zach Fenn as DeCibio passes it over to Robertson. DeCibio with it right now outside. Pass it down low to D'Entremont. D'Entremont pass down low. Shot is up and good for Parker Neuenhaus.
Yeah, it's been several times in this first half that Neuenhaus has caught the ball deep as Christian Green gets in there trying to create a second opportunity. And he's taken a little bit of time to operate, using a lot of pump fakes to keep the defenders honest, but referee's certainly going to have to be cognizant of those 3-second violations down low.
Quite a few fans wanted to travel there, aren't going to get it. Neuenhaus pass down low is taken away by Fenn. Fenn fighting to keep the ball alive. And it's going to remain Tiger ball. Washington Leaf fans are livid at that call.
Yeah, Finn going to the ground, trying to keep his dribble alive. I think right there with him was Laughlin trying to take that ball away. A little bit of contact. Usually when we see players go to the ground diving on each other like that, it's enough to draw some foul calls. So clean, Trinity retaining possession and unable to take advantage of it right there.
Shot up, no good. Neuenhaus with the rebound, and now Neuenhaus coming back down with it. It's going to be a fight for the ball. Brown almost got it in the battle with McLaughlin. Now DeCibio outside near the corner, going to move up to the wing. Push down low, now outside McLaughlin. Does not take the shot, instead goes down. Down low, Neuenhaus. Still trying to move around. Shot clock down to 2 seconds, and they are going to get it stolen away by Fenn. Pass over to Jacob Harvey, who puts it up, cannot get it to fall. Harvey goes down hard. We're going to get whistled with the jump ball.
Yeah, and Harvey going down really hard. You're right, Caleb, holding his head right there. I think we're going to have to see a replay of this one. They challenged the shot at the rim. So there was a lot of contact between bodies, but nothing coming from the official. That one looked like Harvey got the shot off clean up over the top. Zach Finn just pitching it ahead a little bit.
Gonna get the replay there, and hit his head hard there on the court. Considering his positioning, I was really worried that he might have hit his head on that little metal divider between the wood and brick. Thankfully did not, as the fight for the ball ends up in the hands of the Generals. Right now, Robertson with it. D'Entremont pass down low, and they're going to whistle Christian Green for an over-the-back foul.
I'm just a little bit shocked that there was no foul call in transition right there. Jacob Harvey not getting any help from the officials, but back this way, a little bit of a reach in, garners the whistle. Washington Lee still not in the bonus here in the first half, however, and they'll get a 3-point opportunity. That one just off.
Green with the ball, traveling down the court, gonna pass it outside. Fenn thought about a shot, does not take it, now puts it up, and that might have been a pass intended for Green, not entirely sure. It was well short of the rim. Williams gonna put the ball up, cannot get it to fall, it's short off the front of the rim, and a rebound by John Laughlin. DeCibio with it now. Deep pass down low, intended for Neuenhaus. Still in bounds for the Generals. Neuenhaus loses the ball, and they're going to give it to Trinity.
Yeah, and some good passing lanes right there, just not the greatest passes being delivered. It was a good idea from DeCibio. Had his open man, Neuenhuis, on the block, just tried to flip it to him underhand a little bit too low, and Neuenhuis unable to handle that one.
It's been about 2.5 minutes since either team has scored. Balo trying to break that now, cannot get it to fall. A bit too far off the back of the iron. Balo now in defense. DeCibio with the ball, driving down, gonna put it up. It's a floater, does not fall off the backboard and rim. Rebound by Millhouse. Millhouse gonna try and go on the 2-on-1, and they're gonna call a foul against the Generals.
And a good job from Millhouse right there, pressing in transition. Not sure if he was cognizant of it or not, but about 35 seconds on the game clock, so that'll earn Trinity a 2-for-1 opportunity here. He'll go to the free throw line. There's some discussions between referee and opposing head coach Chris McHugh right now. He's not too happy with that call in transition as Millhouse was trying to get rid of it. It looks like everyone in the lane lining up for a 1-and-1, but can't tell if they designated he was going up for it.
Either way, the first shot falls for Millhouse, breaks a 3-minute and 16-second scoring drought for the Tigers, who have not scored from the field in over 7.5 minutes. Second shot falls to make this a 41-33 game for Trinity with 34 seconds to go before halftime. Back to McLaughlin. DeCibio now with it. DeCibio back over to D'Entremont. Play clock ticking down. Almost got bit by the 10-second. DeCibio with it up top, being defended by Dean Balo. Play clock already down to 11. Really need to get something going here. Robertson, now D'Entremont has to take the shot. It's Robertson with it. Shot does not fall. Rebound by Fenn, and we're going to get a timeout called by Jimmy Smith and the Tigers with 2 seconds left. Going to try and get something here before halftime.
Now we'll get the stats back up ahead of this try with about 2.5 seconds left in the first period, and you see that field goal percentage for Trinity plummeting again over the last several minutes of this half. You mentioned just a second ago, scoreless over the last about 8 minutes from the field. So doing a nice job getting to the free throw line a couple of times, because outside of that, it's been really cold here in CalGuard Gymnasium for this Tiger squad.
Getting close to Christmas time, both cold inside and outside the basketball court. As with 2.3 seconds left, we are going to see what exactly the Tigers drew up here, getting ready for the final seconds of play. Millhouse, deep throw, complete to Green. Green, pass it back to Balo. Balo with the shot, does not fall. And that will do it for the first half here from CalGuard Gym. Again, your score, Washington lead Generals 41, Trinity Tigers 33. And since we already had a break just before the halftime buzzer, I think that we'll just go ahead and go to break. What do you think, Luke?
Couldn't agree with you more. We'll come back a couple minutes early and give a little bit of a recap of that first half, what each of these teams did well, what each of these teams can improve on, and how each of them might be able to get the win here in San Antonio to start off this Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic.
Make sure not to go anywhere. We will be back in just a few minutes here after halftime here on the Trinity Tiger Network. Welcome back, everybody, to Calguard Gym, where the Trinity Tigers are getting ready to come back from the locker room down 33-44 to the Washington and Lee Generals here on the Tiger Network. My name is Caleb Reed, joined up here in the commentary booth by Luke Terry. And Luke, what do you think of this game so far?
Well, in the first half, I think Washington Lee came out incredibly hot, but they kind of steadied themselves in the duration of that half. They didn't force anything. You look at the box score right now, they have 10 fewer shots than Trinity, and they lead this game by 8 points. Everything that they took was a good look. They got some open takes under the basket. They knocked down 5 of 10 from deep. Everything working offensively for them, and right now they're trying to get going, but a lot of good swarming defense from the Tigers.
Trinity right now trying to play the defense. They did that a lot in the first half. Shot is up and good by Harrell. And so that will make the lead 43-33 as Trinity is going to get their first look at the ball so far. Millhouse down to Green. Green going to drive, and they're going to call a blocking foul there against Colin Ryan, who slams the court in a lot of frustration there. He thought that should have been a charge.
Yeah, and the referee that probably just left the bottom right of your screen looked down at him when he did so. Pretty close to maybe calling a technical on that play. I think Ryan's frustration, a little understandable right there. Did all he could to move his feet. He's the smaller of the two, giving up a little bit of size to Christian Green. Unfortunately for him, just didn't get the benefit of the foul call right there.
Shot is up, no good by Brown. Fighting for the rebound. Braxton Berry comes up with it, puts it back up. Shot is up again, and now we're going to get a whistle. Foul is going to go against number 15, Jack D'Entremont. And that is going to be his first of the day.
But, important note, we did talk about it in that first half. Ryan picked up 2, right around 4 minutes to left to go in that half, went to the bench. So he picks up his 3rd immediately here in the second half. But Coach McHugh letting him play right now. Now we'll see someone go to the scorer's table. A little bit of delay as he didn't have his jersey tucked in, and Ryan will exit the game. So just 51 seconds played here in the second half for Mr. Colin Ryan before he has to exit with a little bit of foul trouble.
It's going to be Thomas Fagan who went in for the Generals as Barry gets his second shot to fall. So 34-43 years scored here from San Antonio. Pass over to Harrell, now down low to Fagan. Back over to Harrell. Harrell's pass down low, fighting for it. And it was tipped off of Christian Green. I think that it might have gone off of the hands of D'Entremont before going out of bounds. At least that's what the official signaled.
Yeah, Christian Green had that ball pretty much dead to rights in his hands and somehow coughed it up off of D'Entremont. So a very beneficial call going the way of Trinity right there. Now back the other way, another quick foul call. So a couple of fouls going against Washington and Lee to start this second half off. We saw the referee is a little lenient, played through a lot in the first half as Jacob Harvey hits the strings right there, connecting from deep to get Trinity going. It's one of the keys in this second half. Trinity really hot to start the game from three-point range. They were 7 of 15 at one point, but then they went into halftime 7 of 22. They missed their last 7 attempts from 3. So Jacob Harvey riding the ship here in the second half, and now he has the Tigers within 6.
This team loves stretching the court and shooting from deep, as this is going to be a shot by Lachlan, no good. Rebounded there by Barry, who passes it back into Brown. Shot is up from Harvey from the corner. Cannot get it to fall. Fighting for the rebound is Brown and Green. Harvey thought about the shot. Pump fakes. Now goes down. He's going to go up, and that is going to be a shooting foul. Jacob Harvey going to go to the line for 2.
And you think about this entire sequence right here for Trinity. Jacob Harvey nearly knocking down that second consecutive 3 from the corner. Ultimately getting another possession forcing the issue, going to the basket right there. Now he's going to shoot free throws. And it's all because Braxton Berry chose to save that ball that was going to end up out of bounds. Trinity was going to get possession one way or another, but he jumped, he saved it to Tanner Brown, and then they got out and ran in transition. It's exactly what they wanted to do. Attacked a Washington Lee that wasn't entirely set on defense, and now some easy opportunities for one of the best shooters on the team.
First shot is up and good as we're going to get a substitution here. Off comes Thomas Fagan and in comes Parker Neuenhaus. Neuenhaus going to switch positions there with D'Entremont there. Going to try and get some height on this rebound attempt. Harvey's second shot goes through. And just like that, Trinity only finds themselves down 4 after being down by over 10 in the locker rooms. Trinity fans demanding a travel, do not get it there. As the Generals players slip just a little bit. Moving around now, Lachlan passes it over to DeCibio. Back outside to DeCibio, who's gonna take a shot from 3, cannot get it to fall. Fighting for the rebound. It's outside to Lachlan. Lachlan looking outside to DeCibio again, doesn't take the shot. Passes it down. Harrell over to Neuenhaus, and Neuenhaus is going to go to the line for 2 off of the foul.
Yeah, just too much pressure and traffic on the interior from this General side right there. Great possession, just pressuring the basket the entire time. Finally finding a way to get the ball in the hands of one of their big men. Neuenhaus with a great first half, picking up right where he left off. He has 11 right now. I think with that make, you can give him 12 on the afternoon. But just going time and time again to pressure the paint has worked for this General side.
Shot goes through to make it 45-39, and Trinity very quick on the attack. It's Millhouse with it right now. Millhouse over to Brown behind the back of Barry. Brown puts it up, does not get it to fall. Green tried to put it back up and in. Now outside Jacob Harvey, Tanner Brown with it. Back outside Harvey, and they're going to try and slow it down a little bit with 12 seconds left on the shot clock. Harrell trying to play defense against Jacob Harvey. Harvey going to go down. He's going to put it up and not going to get it to fall. And now it is DeCibio with it outside, being defended by Brown. Trinity using that zone well, trying to keep the ball outside of the paint. Shot is up and no good. Fighting for the rebound is Braxton Berry, and they're going to call it a jump ball, which is going to go in the way of Trinity.
Yeah, pretty quick trigger on the jump ball call right there. But this one going to benefit Trinity. A couple of Washington Lee players thinking that they continued to control possession.
Brown taking the ball down the court. It's going to be a little handoff there to Harvey. Millhouse with it, gives it over to Christian Green. Harvey going to take a deep shot from 3, and he nails it. So Trinity finally breaks 40 points, and this is just a 3-point game. Christian Green takes it away and loses the ball. So a prime opportunity to get some extra points and close this game in. Results in nothing, as we're going to get a quick substitution here. Off goes D'Entremont, and in comes Robertson.
Christian Green kind of had his hands up, looking to the officials. Not sure if he wanted a foul call on that last take to the basket, as Harrell, nice job, kind of single-handedly breaking the press right there, finding his open teammate, and then gets an open shot because of it. Harrell with a tremendous start to this second half. Think back to that first possession a couple minutes ago. Hit that fadeaway jumper after there seemed to be nothing happening for Washington and Lee.
Shot is up outside. It's no good. Rebounded there by Brown. Brown over to Millhouse. Millhouse back over to Harvey. Harvey's going to go down, and he's going to go to the line for 2, as John Lachlan is going to get tagged with that foul. And we are going to get a timeout here, media timeout, as we have had 4 minutes already gone in this second half. It has been a very, very fast-paced second here in Calgard.
Yeah, Yeah, somewhat similar start to what we saw in the first half of this game. 9-7 Trinity advantage out of the locker room. Cut into this lead just a little bit. That William and Lee advantage now at 6. But Trinity very early on just pressuring the basket again and again here in the second period. I can count off the top of my head at least 4 fouls that have gone against Washington and Lee. So with 15.5 remaining in this one, Trinity very, very quickly nearing that bonus territory. Looking across the gym, it is 4 personal fouls against Washington and Lee to just 1 on the Tigers in this period.
And that is something that can definitely be costly whenever you get into the bonus, whenever you get into one-on-one situations. We've only had 4.5 minutes gone out of this second half, so if we're already in that situation, Trinity could be having an opportunity at points with every foul very, very closely, and over time, that could definitely influence the way that this game goes. But, of course, Coach Smith, we got to talk to him before this game. He was very complimentary about this Washington and Lee side. And of course, one player in particular, you're going to see him coming onto your screen there, number 33, Robert DeCibio. We mentioned in the open, one of the top scorers in NCAA Division III. And Trinity has gone against a lot of really good shooters so far this season. Of course, got to play Claremont as well, Josiah Johnson, against UMHB, another really great scorer, a great player. So Trinity is no stranger to playing and not really shutting down, but definitely neutralizing the threat that some of these star players are able to achieve.
Yeah, and pressure kind of shifts to the other players on these teams, and right now it's been Harrell who's stepping up to the plate. A great job pressuring the rim again. Unfortunately, that last attempt just falling off for him.
Shot by Brown does not go, but it's bopped back in by Christian Green. So now Trinity finds themselves down only 2 here with 15 minutes to go in the second half. Passes over to Harrell. Harrell driving, puts it up. No good, defended by Braxton Berry, and now we're going to get a whistle as that is going to be Jacob Millhouse drawing the foul.
Yeah, good call by the official right there. It was the one on the near sideline. Be at the bottom of your screen. Recognize Jacob Millhouse kind of wrapped his arm around Neuenhouse as he secured that board and ripped it away.
Coach Smith mentioned one of the things that they need to focus on is the rebounding, as that is going to be stolen by Tanner Brown. It was tipped by Christian Green. Brown puts it up, and we have a tie ball game. Trinity started the half down 8. They are now level with the Washington and Lee Generals. Shot is up from outside for 3. No good. Out of bounds, off of the hands of the Generals. And so Trinity is now going to have a chance to take the lead here. It was Thomas Fagan who took the shot and could not get it. And now it's going to be Jacob Harvey taking it back down.
And that last transition possession for Trinity where Tanner Brown tied this game, Neuenhouse was back. He just had to go straight upright, keep himself up and down, couldn't really try and block that shot just because of the way that this game's being refereed right now. Officials pretty trigger happy as he makes up for the transition play right there with a nifty little make of his own. It's going to limit what this team can do on the defensive end, have to be a little bit more conservative to avoid some foul calls, but a great job offensively out of Neuenhouse.
Fantastic shot by Jacob Harvey to take the lead, and we are going to get a timeout here on the court. A huge 3. That was incredibly deep on the shot. And we're going to get a timeout, I believe, by Trinity here.
But you're right, what a massive make for Jacob Harvey right there. Being pushed back because of the bigger defender and just rising up over the top nonetheless. He has a couple of makes from 3 in this period. We talked about it. They were just 7 of 22 at the half, had really kind of crashed back to earth after a hot shooting start. Now 3 of 7 to start this second half. So the three-point percentage starting to tick back up for Trinity, and they've relied on it significantly more than Washington and Lee in this game. 29 attempts for the Tigers, just 14 for the Generals.
It's been one thing that Trinity has focused on, not just this game, but this entire season. One of the things that Coach Smith actually said that they look for in players is players who can help them with their entire game philosophy of being able to spread the court, take shots outside, and it is something that they have really utilized a lot so far this season. Of course, not this last game, but the game before, the game they played against Austin, took a ton of three-pointers. I believe it was over 50 three-pointers that they took during that game. Only made 14 of them, but still a huge wealth of three-point shots coming so far this year.
Yeah, really interesting philosophy offensively for this Trinity team. Trying to get out and run in transition, being willing to shoot the ball from the outside, even in transition. A lot of attempts at the rim, a lot of attempts from the perimeter. Not a ton of offensive game in between there. And I think that's what we've seen a lot in basketball as a whole these days.
Of course, and one thing that they have really worked on focusing on is this defense. This Tigers offense has been one of the best in the nation, not just this season, but over the last few seasons. But speaking of the defense, is Jacob Harvey getting the steal, and he's going to go to the line for 2 there after he got fouled going up.
And it was DeCibio right there running with him, trying to get that ball at the bottom of the gather. And he got called for the foul. I believe that's going to be his 3rd of this game.
It is going to be the 3rd on DeCibio. Definitely one of their biggest point scorers. Needs to be careful here to avoid getting into foul trouble. I mean, he already is in foul trouble, but needs to avoid getting his 4th.
It's been a huge momentum swing, really the entire second half that's been played so far in favor of Trinity. They've mounted a comeback, grabbed the lead now by 3 points. Not a huge margin, but now Ryan, who has the ball, has 3 fouls. DeCibio, their leading scorer on the season, has 3 fouls. And Trinity is going to play the next 13 and a half minutes of this game in the bonus.
Trinity so far in the second half has outscored the Generals 20-9. Right now they're trying to cut that deficit just a little bit. DeCibio with the ball, and we're going to get a foul on Christian Green.
Yeah, and maybe got a little bit too tight on DeCibio right there was Christian Green. I think a little bit too handsy. The referee went to the scorer's table, reported a hold. I think he had both hands on the bigger player on the outside. Just can't do that defensively.
Oh, and they're going to call a defensive foul there. It was Don Tremont who extended the arm against Green, caused him to go down, and now Christian Green going to come off as he is starting to get into some foul trouble as well. That is going to be his 4th of the day, and so he is going to be sitting until much later in this second half.
Kind of just an unfortunate sequence, picking those 2 fouls up in such quick succession. Coach Smith didn't even really have a chance to get him off the court before he picked up that 4th.
That ball tipped out of bounds off the hands of DeCibio, and so now it's going to be Tanner Brown going down with it. Back over to Jacob Harvey. Harvey back across over to Brown. Back to Harvey, just trying to move this Washington defense around. Shot is up by Tanner Brown. Cannot get it to fall. And they're going to give it to the Generals. We've got another whistle here and a substitution coming on. Harrell coming on and Lachlan coming on for Neuenhaus as well as Fagan. So 3 of the 5 starters for the Washington and Lee Generals back on the court. And they're going to call a travel here against Jack D'Entremont.
Yeah, and almost too quick that call came for D'Entremont to really do anything. Didn't see it live, would have to see it on a replay, but either way, Trinity back with offensive possession here. Washington Lee running this 1-3-1 zone, pressuring out towards half court, but Trinity with a nice find underneath. Abdullah Roberts to Millhouse, who lays it home on the reverse. Kind of taking a page out of this Washington Lee playbook, running that baseline side to side very well and getting an open shot because of it.
Shot up, no good. Rebound by the Generals. DeCibio manages to fake out Millhouse. Pass down low to D'Entremont. Now outside Lachlan. Lachlan going down. D'Entremont throws it off the backboard. Cannot get it to go. DeCibio tried to put it up and does not get it to go. The Washington crowd not exactly happy with that one. Brown outside. Ty Williams back now down to Tanner Brown. Cross-court pass over to Millhouse. Millhouse takes a shot from 3. It's no good. And fighting for the rebound, Abdullah Roberts, I think, is going to pick up a foul.
No, I think it's going to go the other way. That one's going to be DeCibio's 4th foul called on that box out against Abdullah Roberts. Both players a little bit tangled up. DeCibio trying to gather an explanation from the referee, but his coaching staff pulling him back to the sideline. So both of these teams at this point in the game kind of down their best players. Christian Green out for Trinity with 4 fouls, and now DeCibio almost surely going to have to go to the bench with 11, almost 40 remaining in San Antonio after picking up his 4th.
Coach McHugh talking to the official here during this timeout, trying to get some explanation on what has been going on. It has been a very, very whistle-happy second half so far. 4 personal fouls for the Tigers and 7 for the Generals here in a little bit under 9 minutes played. So it has been a half that has been both very quick on the court and very physical, but very slow in terms of real time actually taken. But again, during this second half, Trinity has gone on an absolute tear. They were down 8 and now are up 5. Have outscored Washington Lee so far in this half 22-9, and that's the reason why they're up right now.
Yeah, very infrequently have we seen this Trinity team trailing at halftimes this season. Last time I really remember off the top of my head was their season opener, played it in Georgetown against Claremont Mud Strips, who was a ranked team at the time, went into the break down by 6 and then won the second half of action by 16 points to come back and open their season. So a very similar showing so far against a very difficult Washington and Lee squad.
Shot by Abdullah Roberts, no good, and so he will not get the 1-and-1. As now Colin Ryan going to be taking the ball over to Harrell, back down to Roberts. Shot is up by Harrell, and he finally gets it to fall. Washington Lee had gone scoreless for about 2.5 minutes before finally getting that shot, and now the score is 53-55. Again, still favoring the Tigers. Harvey thinks about the shot, does not take it. Being defended by Neuenhaus, puts the ball up, and it's good, and he's going to go to the line for the 1-and-1.
And this will be an interesting call. Referee walking to the scorer's table. He's going to call that against Ryan, who was riding the hip of Jacob Harvey right there. That'll be his 4th personal foul as well. So we talk about the fouls being called in the second half. Really the most unfortunate thing for Washington and Lee is just where the concentration of those calls have come against a couple of their starters in DeCibio and Ryan, who's also going to have to head to the bench.
It is going to be a substitution. Connor Robertson coming on now for the Generals as Trinity leads 58-53. Ball is lost, taken away by Balo. Fenn also loses the ball by himself, but Trinity still with the ball. Harvey with the great catch on the sideline, puts it up, does not fall. Rebounded by Ty Williams, and they're going to give it to Washington and Lee there. A little bit of miscommunication on the handoff.
Yeah, and it looked like it was D'Entremont pressuring in the corner. Just a great job defensively, remaining in pursuit of that loose ball. Just his presence, making it very difficult for Williams to save that one to his teammate. So this Washington Lee squad, now Ryan and DeCibio on the bench, but it's largely this afternoon been Harrell and down low, who just got the benefit of a foul call, Neuenhaus. They're the leaders of this team in the scoring column today.
It's going to be a foul on Ty Williams, I believe.
It looks like he was in defense of Neuenhaus right there, who has 15 with Harrell as he takes this one to the basket.
It's Harrell right now with it. Shot is up from outside, and it is good by Thomas Fagan, the junior out of New York, New York. And now it is going to be Jacob Harvey. Washington lead down by 2, and their visiting crowd is getting loud, and it's going to be an offensive foul. Waiting to get confirmation on who it's on.
I think it was on Ty Williams as he's checking out of the game. I believe the referee's calling a moving screen right there. So right now, playing field just being evened a little bit. Foul trouble on both sides of the court at this point in the game. 10 minutes left, just a 2-point differential. I think we're in for a really good one down the stretch in San Antonio.
Barry with the rebound off of that missed shot. It's Balo with it now. Pass over to Roberts. Roberts now going to take it down himself. He's going to go up with it. Does not fall. Rebound by Zach Fenn, whose shot is blocked and out of bounds. So Trinity going to hang on to possession. Jacob Harvey going to be throwing it in.
The referee's giving a little bit of a warning to this Washington and Lee bench. They have been up off their feet the duration of this game. A ton of energy on that sideline. Went down to the court at the half. All of their seats were pushed back several feet from where they started the game. They've been into this one, and I think the way that the second half is playing out, they're just further engulfed in it.
Roberts went up with it, lost the ball. Shot is up, no good. Rebound by Trinity, and second shot no good. Fighting for the ball. Trinity calling for the jump ball, not going to get it. Pass over to Harrell. Harrell going to put it up and gets it to go on the finger roll, and we have a tie ball game. Despite this being a game that is very, very far from home for Washington and Lee, they have a loud visiting section, and they are making themselves heard here in CalGuard Gym with 8 minutes to go. Shot is up, no good, rimmed around for Abdullah Roberts. Barry puts it up and in, and Trinity retakes the lead here with 8:45 to go in the second half.
Neuenhaus doing everything that he could right there, staying straight upright. Zach Finn with the takeaway. He'll go to the basket strong, but Harrell with an emphatic block, just rising up one-on-one in transition and denying Zach Finn. He coughed the ball up, but make sure that it wasn't going to cost him, at least not right there.
Our co-commentator, Reed Rosales, loves to call Zach Fenn the chaos creator on defense, and he did a little bit of chaos creating there. It's Brown who goes down with it, puts it up and in for the bucket. 62-58 your score here from San Antonio, as the Generals trying to get a little bit closer and hopefully retake the lead. Laughlin driving down, puts it up, cannot get it to fall. Neuenhaus tried to go up with it, does not go, out of bounds, and they're going to say that it was off of Trinity.
And this game continuing to be very physical. Felt like much of that first half, the referees swallowed their whistles. Started off very trigger happy in this second half, but a lot of contact. Trinity not getting called for any fouls right there, but Washington Lee will retain possession nevertheless.
It almost feels like they've swung a little bit too hard in the opposite direction. They felt like they didn't call enough in the first. Now they're calling a little bit too much in the second, and now it feels like they aren't calling enough. Sometimes there's been a lot of issues with some contact on shots that maybe could have been whistles earlier on if they had happened about 5-10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been very up and down. I think you're right, Caleb. And I think that's the one qualm that teams have with referees above all else. Whether you're very trigger happy or you're letting them play, just make sure it's consistent for both teams and consistent throughout the duration of a game. It hasn't necessarily been so in San Antonio. And now as things are a little bit more liberal, I guess, they're allowing these guys to play through it. There are other guys that have had to come out of the game and sit on the bench because they have 4 fouls, both teams being hurt by that right now.
It is definitely a very, very difficult scene right now for both of these teams. Of course, both these teams have players that are in foul trouble. Both these teams have players who are starting to have some issues. We do, however, have a really big substitution coming on. We do have, I believe, Christian Green just went over to the table. So it looks like he will be checking in. Only 4 points so far today for Trinity's leading team scorer. So far today, that role has been taken on by Jacob Harvey. 21 points in this game, the leading scorer for the Tigers. One thing to note, both teams have players with 4 fouls. For Trinity, it is Christian Green as well as Ty Williams. And for the Washington and Lee Generals, it is Colin Ryan as well as Robert DeCibio. So both these teams with a little bit of foul trouble, and they will have to manage that for their star players in the last 8 minutes and 3 seconds of this second half.
And it'll be interesting. You mentioned Christian Green checking into the game. He's on the ball at the top of the screen. A little bit of a chess match here. Is that one thrown away as Dean Balo tried to corral it, but he couldn't. Laughlin doing a nice job of keeping him off of it, and it forces the shot clock violation right there. Coach McHugh on the court a couple of steps. I think he wants to review it. He felt like his guy got it off, but it was well short, so I'm not sure entirely what the argument is. Maybe he wanted it reset in the first place.
And it looks like we are going to get a review here.
Why that takes place, I think important to talk about Green coming back onto the floor, right? 8 minutes left, a lot of time to go with 4 fouls, but it's a game where you lead. If Coach McHugh is opting not to bring his guys and DeCibio and Ryan back onto the court right now, a real opportunity for Trinity to play with your starters, try and get on a little bit of a roll and open this one up before it's too late. For Washington Lee, how long on the other end of that can you go without getting a couple of your starters and, of course, your star player in DeCibio back onto the floor?
It is a very, very big issue. And, of course, you never want to have a player get those 5 fouls and of course, removed from the game. DeCibio right now is on the court. So the matchup that we were incredibly excited for earlier on in the game, heading into this one, DeCibio versus Green, we are getting that, both of them with 4 fouls. So that battle could end at any moment as we check out the replay.
I have to assume that when that ball was thrown, Dean Balo, number 3 for Trinity, was able to tip it away. I imagine Coach McHugh is arguing that he gained possession and the shot clock should have reset. I don't think there's anything else that could have really played out on this possession. Obviously, the shot was well short, but you see it right here. A long throw, Balo with a tip.
I don't think that you can argue that the tip is possession because he had maybe 3 fingers on it, knocked the ball off course, but I don't think that can really count as possession.
We'll see. The referee's coming back onto the court now. They're pointing in the direction of Trinity, so it looks like you're right, Caleb. Not enough to denote possession in favor of Trinity. That led to the shot clock violation, and the Tigers will now have the ball. Couple ticks under 8 minutes left in San Antonio. A 4-point advantage for the home Tigers. And both teams now in the bonus, something that will be important to note over the last couple of minutes. But to this point, a pretty big disparity in free throws attempted. Just 4 for the Generals, 18 for the home team.
It's Brown with it right now. Balo and Brown passing it back and forth. Now Dean Balo drives down, backs out over to Brown. Brown moving around with it. 10 on the shot clock. It's taken away by D'Entremont. D'Entremont now backs out of the move. DeCibio with the ball. Lachlan back over to DeCibio. And DeCibio trying to find somebody here. 15 on the shot clock here, 7:16 to go. Shot is up from outside. Complete air ball as it is taken in by Abdullah Roberts. Tanner Brown with the ball now. Trying to drain a good bit of clock here. Trinity leading by 4. Again, your score 62-58. Balo up top, passes it down to Green in the wing. Barry backing down, puts the ball up and in. A fantastic physical play by Braxton Barry to extend this lead. 64-58 your score with 6:40 to go. Harrell puts it up, cannot get it to fall. Rebound by Christian Green.
Unfortunate that that one fell off the rim for him, but impressive that he even got it into the cylinder in the first place. And Harrell coming back the other way. That time, his shot sent back. Braxton Barry stout defensively, going straight up right. Real big size advantage there. Barry standing in at 6'9". Harrell trying to go over the top at 6'2", but nothing doing for him.
Coming on is going to be Colin Ryan and Parker Neuenhaus. Going off for the Generals, Thomas Fagan and Jack D'Entremont. As that's Lachlan moving around with it, being defended by Braxton Barry. Outside is Colin Ryan. Neuenhaus's pass to Lachlan is lost, and they are going to say that it is a backcourt. Trinity did not touch that ball. And so it is going to be a backcourt violation, and Trinity will take over at just a little bit past midcourt. It's going to be Braxton Barry throwing it in.
Right now for Trinity, almost the full starting 5. Abdullah Roberts in the top corner in place of Jacob Milhouse at the moment. But he's been good this afternoon, very long. He's been disruptive on the defensive end.
Outside by Roberts, shot is up, no good. Fighting for the rebound, Braxton Barry goes down. Harrell with it. He's been one of the big forces for Washington Lee so far. Shot is up, no good off the front of the iron, and it is going to be Trinity ball. That shot there, I believe, was by Lachlan.
Yeah, that one well short. Laughlin a little bit deep, several feet beyond the three-point arc. One thing important to note for this Washington and Lee team, down on the court during halftime, I was told they haven't played a game since December 2nd. So a lot of time to scout this team, but really haven't been in game conditioning for quite a while. We'll have to see the last 5 or so minutes here in San Antonio as we tick towards that mark, how that plays into this affair.
That December 2nd game was a very tough loss as well. An 84-87 overtime defeat. So it will be very interesting to see how this team recovers as Harvey goes up and puts it in. A fantastic play by the Trinity Tigers to extend this lead now 66-58. Fighting for the ball, and that is going to be the 5th foul there by Christian Green. His day is done.
But I think you have to applaud the decision from Coach Smith. You're taking a gamble with 8 minutes on the clock, putting a very young player back on the court in danger of fouling out for the afternoon. But it did what I think you would hope for. Grew this lead from 4 points to 8, so doubled it up. But still, nearly 5 minutes here in San Antonio. Full roster at Coach McHugh's disposal, but I'll remind you, DeCibio and Ryan both playing with 4 fouls, as that 1-and-1 going to fall off the rim from D'Entremont.
Coach McHugh, you mentioned a former alum for Washington and Lee, class of 09, as that is a fantastic layup there by Tanner Brown to make this a 10-point lead for Trinity. Ryan spins around, Shot is up and good for Jack D'Entremont. And now Jacob Harvey going to pass it over to Tanner Brown, and Trinity is going to try and kill as much clock as they possibly can. They can take this all the way down, but instead it's going to be Brown who takes it for 3, and he nails the shot to extend their lead. 71-60 is your score with 3:53 to go in this half.
That's maybe been Tanner Brown's biggest calling card this year, the timely shots. He hasn't been the highest scorer for this Trinity side, but he's knocked them down when it matters the absolute most. He did so again right there. Good answer from Washington and Lee, but they just can't, at this point in the game, afford to trade baskets the way they have the last couple of possessions. Too much back and forth. They need some stops right now.
Trinity has been on fire recently. 3 of their last 3 three-point attempts have gone in. 5 of their last 7 shots have gone in. And so it has been a fantastic run for the Trinity Tigers here. And with 3:43 to go in this half, Washington Lee really needs to get something going, and they need to slow down this offense.
Yeah, and one thing that Washington Lee had working for them earlier this afternoon was that three-point ball, and we talked about it coming out of the break. Nothing was forced in that first half, and I think they're continuing to get good looks from the outside, but as that fatigue starts to set in, that percentage has dropped a little bit. Still 40% is very respectable, but they're 8 of 20, and a couple of minutes ago, they were 8 of 17, so a couple of consecutive misses. Big shots that, had they gone in, would make this an even closer game than it is at the moment. 9-point advantage for Trinity. Feels fairly comfortable with 4 minutes remaining, especially considering the way things have gone back and forth. Tanner Brown hitting a big 3, but a couple of possessions before that, Brown blowing by his defender, Jacob Harvey getting right to the rim as well. Needs to be a little bit more stout for the Generals right here. They have a couple of lanes to shore up.
For sure, and for the Trinity defense, of course, they have been pretty good so far in this second half. Of course, they started the second half down 8, now lead by almost 10, and you know, in talking with Coach Smith just before this game, he mentioned that so far this year, they've really worked on being more diverse on defense, being able to be a lot more adapting to situations, and it has really paid off here. They have been able to adjust extremely well to offensive threats, and it has paid off very big, especially in this second half. It's Brown with it right now, looking around outside to Balo, and now outside to Abdullah Roberts, the senior. Roberts spins, tries to go up, and they're going to call a travel on Roberts. Interesting decision. And we're going to get a substitution. On comes John Laughlin, and off comes Colin Ryan. So Ryan avoiding a 5th foul here with the substitution.
And we'll see a little bit early in this one to be going defense for offense, but Ryan has been very good on that end of the court, and at this point you really need some threes to drop if you're Washington and Lee. So we'll have to see if Coach McHugh continues with that trend down the stretch.
Harrell outside to D'Entremont. D'Entremont going down, trying to go against Abdullah Roberts. Shot does not fall, rebounded by Dean Balo. Balo going to back out and try and again take a little bit more time off of the clock. Harvey outside, thinks about a shot, doesn't take it on Neuenhaus. Instead, going to be fighting for it, and Washington is going to come up with it. Harrell thought about the shot, instead going to move around, trying a down low shot. Braxton Berry in some heavy defense. DeCibio with the ball, loses the ball, almost taken away, and we're finally going to get a whistle, and it's going to go against the Tigers. Both of these teams in the bonus, so it is going to be Robert DeCibio going to the line for the 1-and-1. Still not the guaranteed 2 shots. Need 2 more Trinity fouls for that, but DeCibio so far this season has been a pretty good free throw shooter, about 87, 88%. First shot goes through, so he will get a second here.
But that one, just his 4th point on the afternoon. Trinity holding him almost 20 points under his season average so far in the game. A couple minutes left, and I'm sure that he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. But Trinity continuing the trend of just really shutting down and mitigating #1 options from these opposing teams.
It's been something that Coach Smith and this team has really prided themselves on, their new defensive focus. They have really worked on their defense a lot. Of course, offense has not been a struggle in recent years. They love to shoot it from deep. They love to score high amounts of points, but it has been an issue as this shot from 3 is no good, but defense has really been their weakness, and they have worked on that, and it's a big reason why they're 9-0 at the moment.
And a great anticipation jump right there from Millhouse, knocking that one out of bounds. Even though that last possession ended in points for DeCibio at the free throw line, Trinity continuing to make Washington and Lee work for a long time. Ryan's going to check out again. Laughlin back into the game for that offensive-defensive switch, trying to get some three-point shooting going out there. But just so little time left in this one. 90 seconds now on the clock and a 7-point advantage for Trinity.
Harrell with it, going down against Barry. Puts the ball up, does not fall. Barry with the rebound, and now Trinity just going to try and take as much time as they possibly can. They can drain this down to under a minute here before they have to take a shot. Tanner Brown with it, and we're going to get a timeout by Coach Smith and the Tigers. So we will see what they will draw up here. Just a reminder that after this game, we are going to take a short little break before we watch the St. Thomas versus Luther game. That game is scheduled to tip off at about 4. Looks like it'll start at about, I'd say, 4:30 is the most likely estimate for when tip-off of that game will happen. St. Thomas, of course, a regular SCAC foe. Luther, another one of the teams that Trinity does not get to see very often. So it'll be another opportunity to get some extra film on another team, and also get a matchup that we don't get to cover very often here on the Tiger Network. So make sure to stick around for that one. But right now, all focus on this game. Trinity leading 71-64. What do you think is going to happen in the next minute?
Continue to flow through DeCibio down the stretch here. He hasn't obviously matched that scoring total that you're used to seeing, but you have to applaud him. He hasn't forced the issue, and he's really gotten his teammates involved. A little bit of everything outside of the offensive scoring prowess. 7 rebounds that he's grabbed and 5 assists, which leads this Washington and Lee team. Another timeout very quickly here, but 16 seconds remaining on the shot clock. You mentioned a moment or two ago the fact that Trinity will get this one down under a minute, and for that reason it feels like it's all but over here in San Antonio, barring a pretty miraculous comeback.
It would take at least 3 possessions for the Generals. Even 2 straight threes would still give Trinity a 1-point win, so it is looking very, very difficult for the Washington Lee Generals to continue this great run that they've had so far. And, you know, 1 loss won't be the end of the run, but it'll definitely put a little damper on it. 2 straight losses to make them 5-3 on the year, if the game ends up being this final, of course.
Yeah, and I think that just speaks volumes to the Washington and Lee side and the schedule that they've played so far. Obviously, stemming from a region that's going to be very, very competitive this year. I'm sure they'll have their work cut out for them as they enter their conference play, but a nice break to at least come out here to San Antonio, maybe a little bit warmer for him, as that one goes to Jacob Harvey off the rim, so Washington Lee will come back the other direction.
DeCibio with the ball right now, takes the shot, does not fall. It's short, rebound by Dean Balo. And now we're going to get a whistle. We have a player down for Washington Lee. I think that Balo might have made contact with his elbow to the face of one of the players, and it's going to be Colin Ryan who went down.
Yeah, it looked like Ryan came in there a little bit low. Dean Balo trying to clear out space, but Ryan changed his eye level a little bit, and I think that was what led to the contact in the area of his jaw. He rubs it a little bit coming back the other way. Just an unfortunate sequence there, but nothing intentional either way.
So that foul is going to be on John Laughlin. That will be his third of the day, as Balo makes his first shot, making it 72-64. Braxton Berry coming on for Ty Williams now. So now all but one of the team starters for Trinity are on the court. That one starter being Dean Balo. Right now, Harrell with it. Pass down low, and it is up and in for D'Entremont.
At this point, Generals need to take the ball away. Aren't able to do it in the press right there. It forces them to foul. Jacob Millhouse will be headed to the line for Trinity. A very capable shooter. He's proven it from deep, and right now he's going to step up as an 83% free throw shooter on the season, right around 83% over the duration of his career as well.
The last time that Trinity faced the Washington and Lee Generals was back in 2019, so nobody on this bench has seen the silver and blue of the Generals before, at least not in competition. So these players are going to get their first win, split the series 1-1 all time, as that first game, or first and only game, was a 71-88 victory for the Generals, a loss for the Tigers, as that layup is rolled in beautifully. And the Generals get the ball back here, down low, put the ball up, and they manage to get it in. This game is suddenly a lot closer. Pass outside to Millhouse. Millhouse was wide open. He lays it up and in to make it 77-70 and make it a lot more difficult, but it is still not over. D'Entremont shot up from outside, does not fall, short off the rim, fighting for the ball.
Looks like Harrell jumped from that baseline, so unfortunately he was illegally touching the ball right there. A nice, exciting little run to cap off this game in San Antonio as Washington and Lee pulled back within 5, but just a defensive collapse in that open layup for Trinity, as they'll now have the opportunity to run this clock out.
Harvey, no-look pass over to Balo. Balo is going to get fouled and will go to the line here for 2, but with 13 seconds left, even if he misses both of these shots, it's looking like a very, very difficult task for the Generals to come back from here.
Yeah, and this Washington and Lee side has made this an incredibly competitive game all afternoon. Have to really tip your hat to this side. Coming back from a long break, not getting the chance to really get out there and compete at an actual game-like level for almost a full 3 weeks. Hard to get that kind of break after that close loss that you were mentioning, but came out here and looked like they haven't missed a beat at all. So a good start to their Leslie Robinson Thanksgiving Classic here in San Antonio, and they'll have the opportunity to right the ship, right the direction a little bit again tomorrow when they play for a second time.
You mentioned the break. It wasn't just a game break, but also this being over the Christmas break, you know, not very many fans here, although it is very much a surprise to see as many people in the stands as we have, as that will be the whistle here. Trinity wins 78-70 over the Washington and Lee Generals here in CalGuard Gym to open up the Leslie Robinson Holiday Classic. as the hosts start 1-0 in the tournament and extend their record out now to 10 wins and 0 losses on the 2023-24 season. Luke, what are your thoughts on that game?
I mean, it's been impressive what Trinity's been able to do really all year long. We talked about it in the first half. Basketball's a game of runs, but this is a Tigers squad that comes out and kind of just steadily improves game after game, minute after minute. They've been very, very consistent all year long. It never felt like they were so far ahead in this game, but they were certainly never out of it, even when Washington and Lee jumped out to double-digit leads in that first half. Trinity just continued, steady hand. Jimmy Smith at the helm the entire time, led this team to a very impressive victory over a very, very solid Washington and Lee side. Obviously, Trinity did a great job in defending and shutting down Desibio, but the fact that the Generals had several players, not just one, that stepped up to the plate, and Hurl and DeMontriant, 19 and 20 points apiece, they kept this team in it even without the typical performance from their #1 guy.
You mentioned, of course, the defense in general. It was absolutely electric, but of course you also mentioned the competitiveness, and that's something that we haven't seen a lot so far this year from Trinity opponents. Of course, the last 2 SCAC games that we covered were absolute blowouts, especially in the second half. First half was a lot closer, but Trinity continues their reputation of starting maybe a little bit slow before just standing on the gas pedal in the second half, and they did it again here today, resulting in another win. So the Tigers will again move up to 10-0 on the season. Washington Lee Generals drop to 5-3. Both teams will play again tomorrow with Trinity with Trinity facing the University of Chicago. That one will wrap up the Leslie Robinson Thanksgiving Classic. That game will tip off, or is scheduled to tip off at about 7:00 p.m. tomorrow. Meanwhile, for the Washington and Lee Generals, they will face St. Thomas to open action tomorrow at 1 p.m. And speaking of St. Thomas, another SCAC rival, we are going to be covering that game in just a few minutes, 23 minutes away from tip-off. Make sure to look on your YouTube pages for that on the Trinity Tiger Network. We'll be back in just a few minutes, but that is the end of this game. Again, Trinity wins a great one, 70-78, your final from everybody in the control room. Thank you for watching. My name has been Caleb Reed, joined by Luke Terry, and we will see you all in just a few minutes. Take care, everybody.